to the north or to the south? Well, for more on this North-South presidential debate, joining us in the studio is the People's Democratic Party Northern Chieftain, ADAMU, MAINA, WAZIRI. He was the convener of that meeting of the elders from the 19 northern states and the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. And in our overflow studio is Dr. Mefor, who is an author, journalist, and the Vice Chairman of the Igbo Leadership Development Foundation. Gentlemen, welcome to the news tonight. Let me begin with you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let me begin with you here in the studio. The People's Democratic Party and the meeting of the 19 northern governors, or the leaders that you convened today. What exactly is the view and the position of the leaders? Is it that you're saying the PDP should produce a northern candidate for 2023? Make us understand. That's to you, sir.
Me, Adam
Yes.
WAZIRI?
Yes, indeed.
Well, thank you very much. Let us be very clear and be specific what issues you are asking me about. The PDP, of which I am a founding member, was formed to provide a national platform for democratic expression in the country. At a point when the military are being harassed by us to leave the stage. And in that quest, Chief Alex Ekweme became the leader of G34 that gave birth to the PDP. So it will be drawing us backward if we start talking of ethnic presidents or a president being championed by ethnic or other vociferous tendencies within the country. It is a platform where every Nigerian can seek political expression and aspire to the highest office of the land. When people from this part of the country, my own part of the country, join the advocacy of non-political actors like Afenefere, Ohaneze, Pandef, Middle Belt Forum, to drag us backward, we found this is an alarm call, because some men of goodwill within the country must stand up and espouse national unity. We are looking for a Nigerian who believes in himself and his capacity to unite this country first and foremost before a leader can be elected. We are not asking of a president of this extraction or that extraction. No, this is anti-Nigeria, because all of us must join in this quest to first maintain the indivisibility of Nigeria and get the right leadership that will deepen the unity and cohesion of the country, so that the leader will be able to exercise the mandate that we collectively give them. Now, this is what the Northern PDP elders are saying. And we are doing so not because we are a formal group, no, because we need to come together to disassociate ourselves from somebody who is an PDP member, but from this part of the country, who has nobody's mandate to go on a crusade to anoint a presidential candidate or presidential candidates for our party.
All right, let me take it to Law Mefor. Law, it looks like for a section of the PDP, it's no longer convenient to talk about zoning. Well, the question is, what's the best strategy for the Southeast to actually clinch the presidency in 2023? There was no presence of a Northern party at that GNC meeting that was held to push the case for an Igbo presidency. What's the best strategy? And if they achieved without the North?
Let me recall to you.
Hold on, this is for Law Mefor, our other guest.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for hosting me. And I want to make a quick observation on what my big brother in the studio there is saying, talking about first uniting the country before you would give attention to the diversity. I want to draw his attention to the PDP constitution. He is a chieftain of the PDP. And in 2009, the PDP, in its wisdom, wrote into its constitution the principle of rotation between North and South Nigeria. It's a constitutional matter. I also want to avert his attention to the constitutional provision, very extant provision of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended. The principle of federal character says that all political offices in Nigeria, elected, appointed, should spread amongst the 6 geopolitical zones. That provision of the Constitution did not make exception of the office of the president. And you know that the office of the president is indivisible. You cannot share it at the same time. What that means is that the only way you can share it amongst the 6 geopolitical zones in the country is by rotating it. There is yet another point I want to make before I tell you about the Saudi strategy. My big brother there talked about that there is no need to talk about rotation. He believes that we shouldn't talk about ethnic president. Nobody is talking about ethnic president. We are talking about Southeast. Southeast is not an ethnic geopolitical zone. Yes, it is predominantly made up of the Igbos, but we're not talking about the Igbos here. We are talking about the Southeast geopolitical zone. And let me take us back a little bit to what happened in 2014. In 2014, 6 PDP governors left the PDP to form what they called the new PDP that joined the legacy parties that formed the All Progressive Congress, APC. One of them was Chibike Amaechi, Kwankwaso of Kano. The Kwara State governor then, I can't remember his name, and the 3 others. Why did they leave? They left the party because they believed that President Goodluck Jonathan, as he then was, repudiated the principle of zoning and rotation. They left in protest. And President Jonathan lost 2015 presidential election essentially because of the sentiment that presidential power was supposed to return to the North in 2015. That meant that Jonathan contested that election in error and in repudiation of his own party's constitution. APC came into power in 2015 based on rotation, on the need for rotation. So rotation was upheld then, and it was right, it was good. And the same people that fought vehemently, aggressively, because of zoning and rotation, are the same clique of people who are now saying that zoning and rotation are no longer necessary. Come on, can we face a bit of reality here? I want to tell
address
my big brother. No, 1 minute, just one. Can I just underline one point? Just
quickly,
one
so
point.
that we can.
One point I want to underline. Just one point that I want to underline. The reason the country is now on the brinks of collapse is because of disunity. President Olusegun Obasanjo said recently that Nigeria is a country and not yet a nation. Why did he say that? He said that because our diversities have not been integrated into a whole to make us into one nation That is why you have to sustain the principle of rotation. Power has to move south. They were talking about merit a few weeks ago.
I hate to interrupt you, but
changed from merit to something else.
I hate to interrupt you, but this is the news, and the news is moving. Very quickly, maybe we'll come back to your point on the strategy for the Southeast, and I need you to put that very briefly. But let me bring it back to ADAMU WAZIRI here. You listen to Dr. Mefor. He says, I mean, it was convenient. It's in your Constitution, Article 7, I think it's subsection 3C, states clearly rotation of power from the north, between the north and the south. And also there's a question of the growing sentiments in the country that after a tenure of a President Muhammadu Buhari, after the administration of a President Muhammadu Buhari of 8 years representing the north, power should actually rotate to the south. What do you tell people with such agitations that, one, your constitution states clearly for power to rotate, and two, the national mood?
Well, you know, there is this problem of shifting the goalposts. When people like my colleague, Dr. Mefor, I understand, speaks, in one vein, it is about rotation between north and south. In another vein, is about having a president of Igbo extraction. Another vein is about southeast. You know, people need to be clear. I am here on this program not for anything but as a PDP chieftain. The last time the PDP was in power was 2015. And the incumbent of that office was President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. Since after his departure, the PDP will now rotate, if so people think, to the other zone that did not provide the presidency which he occupied for 5.5 years. I was a member of President Jonathan's cabinet, and I'm aware that President Jonathan was offered himself in 2011 on the understanding that he will be there for 2011-2015. And the same people talking, among who are the presidential aspirants from the other side, were there in President Jonathan's government when zoning was repudiated. Zoning was repudiated not today, not tomorrow. It was repudiated in 2011.
Okay,
when
so
after
let me ask you very quickly, because
the power should have been given to the north by the PDP constitution. But come to look at it, whoever wants to be president of Nigeria must offer himself to the Nigerian electorate. He must be his salesman, so that the Nigerian electorate will decide who will be the president. It's only when you have the president in place we do not start talking of rotation and power shift and sharing of offices. The PDP is not APC. President Muhammadu Buhari is not PDP. Of course he is a northerner. There is no problem. Many aspirants in the PDP were from the south in 2015.
Yes, Maina, let me stay with you. I mean, the North once supported zoning and rotation. What exactly has changed? And on the issue of zoning and rotation, should it only apply to the presidency, or what you're saying is we should actually repudiate the idea of zoning? Should it apply to federal character? Should it apply to, you know, cut-off mark, quota system and all of that? Is that what you're saying?
No, my dear. Look, we are talking of a Nigerian president. I am talking of a Nigerian president, not of northern extraction, not of southern extraction, not of any divisive extraction. I want a Nigerian president who will look at the country as his constituency and who will now aspire to that office based on the acceptability of the majority of Nigerians, and offer a leadership that will maintain the unity and cohesion of Nigeria.
Okay.
No, anybody who offers himself outside that prism is not doing justice to this country.
Well,
furthermore,
Okay.
People talk about justice and equity and fairness. Look, it is trite knowledge that what is just might not be fair. What is fair might not be just.
Dr. Mefor, very quickly, your reactions and the strategy for the Southeast, because as it looks, consensus is not working, and the two major political parties seem to have abandoned zoning. So how is the Southeast going to go about this?
We are pushing forth our first 11. Like my brother said, yes, the president of Southeast extraction will be the president of Nigeria. And that is why the criteria we rolled out, the criteria we rolled out, first we talked about integrity, we talked about competence, we talked about national visibility and national acceptability. So we are not deviating outside his own prescriptions. We know the person must be a Nigerian president, acceptable as cross-board. And we have them. We have them in abundance. In PDP, in APC. You have the likes of Peter Obi in PDP. You have the likes of Ngige in APC. Can anybody tell me that these people don't have national visibility and acceptability? Whoever is saying that is not being just to the Southeast. So we are not putting forth ethnic champions. We are putting forth our best exports to Nigeria, the Nigerian nation state, men and women who have played at the national and international level, who will be able to pull the country together. Peter Obi can, Ngige can, there is no doubt about this, and they know it. So if they talk about competence, I want them to bring the credentials of those they are pushing forth, lay their credentials side by side. Men like Ngige, men like Peter Obi, we want to see them compete based on their capacity, based on integrity. You know why I'm particular about Ngige and Peter Obi? No, they are not integrity challenged. They are very competent. They have played at the national level. Look, if they are integrity challenged, by now, the EFCC should have been able to open a record on them. So we have enough men in PDP, enough men in APC who are nationalists and who will represent the Southeast adequately. Look, let me also warn. There are people of Southeast extraction that may not be able to represent us well. So if they are choosing, they must choose from the first 11 that we are putting forward.
All right.
Do you get the point? So now, if
you choose the best 11,
that's what I have summarized.
Okay. All right.
Yes,
I
the
guess
best 11, they are out there in the fray. Let them pick from them.
And some people will argue that there's no part of Nigeria where you don't find competence.
If they want a woman.
So
thank you very much, ADAMU, MAINA, WAZIRI, PDP Chieftain, and Mefor, Public Affairs Analyst and Journalist. Thank you both, gentlemen.